Hey guys, Techify, and today I've got a review of a mouse that is quite different and is quite spectacular, and that is the Finalmouse Starlight-12. So guys, let's get into this. So I'm going to do this video like any of my other reviews, but there's obviously a lot with this mouse to be said about pricing and availability, which I will talk about later on. So I'll talk about the unboxing first, and it's a pretty standard experience. In the box you obviously just get the mouse itself, a cable and wireless dongle, as well as some instructions and a little information card from Finalmouse.
You don't understand how light this feels.
So the glaringly obvious thing that makes this mouse so impressive is it's made out of a magnesium alloy rather than plastic, and therefore it's super light. They claim the small one weighs about 42 grams. Mine on my scales weighs about 44 grams, which is within a reasonable error because my scales may not be accurate, and they do say on their website due to the manufacturing process, and on their website they do say there may be a little bit of error due to the manufacturing process. Anybody who's just read the Finalmouse Twitter to you in their review and got out a periodic table, and ironically, not sure what the point of that is. Magnesium alloy, basically it's a light structural metal, so it can be thinner and lighter while being super strong. Speaking of which, at that 42 grams, something like the RTS is a sub 50 gram mouse that's plastic. This is obviously a wired mouse though, and the creaks and clicking you get from a mouse like this is so much more than if I squeeze this Finalmouse side to side. Absolutely nothing happens. Even if I squeeze really hard, it's really solid. The bottom is actually made out of plastic to allow the wireless technology to work properly. It is actually more solid than I expected. A lot of people are saying, oh, don't test it, it's not very strong. As much as I don't mind testing my mice usually, this is pretty expensive and hard to come by, so I don't want to do that. It's, I'd say, a bit stronger than something like the Model D-, or even, to be honest, it's about as strong as the bottom of this RTS. It does have a little bit of flex, and obviously in a real world scenario the bottom isn't going to get much pressure on it. It is an incredibly solid mouse, especially considering it's ridiculously lightweight. In games, that lightweight is incredible. The fact that they've managed this in a wireless mouse, it does live up to its claims, and as for somebody who likes a light mouse, this is really what you want. It's an incredible experience. You don't really understand how light this is and what it feels like until you get the chance to use one. As for the shape of the mouse, I have the small model as I mentioned, and mine's obviously in the red or Aries, and I do think it looks pretty cool. I did see some speculation and some people complaining about the paintwork on the mouse and it not looking great, and to be honest, I think there's actually no issues with mine. I think cosmetically, in terms of the coating and the paint job, mine looks excellent. It's personal preference whether you like it, but I do think it looks really cool. It does have a little bit of a metallic look to the metal bits, which makes sense. However, despite what you may believe, if you didn't tell me it was metal, you could have convinced me it's plastic. It doesn't really feel much different, especially once it's all painted and coated. This mouse obviously comes in small and medium, so most people are going to be able to fit it for their hand size. What I'll do with my small model is I'll show it with a bunch of other mice I have, so you can get an idea of roughly what it might be similar to. And overall for me, this shape is really good. It's not as ideally optimized as something like size rail. However, it is a pretty universal safe shape. And for most people, as long as you pick the small or medium right, whether you're a claw or fingertip user, or to be honest, even a palm user, you're gonna like this mouse. This small version is a very small mouse though. Measured myself, it's about 115 millimeters long, 59 millimeters wide at the back, and 35 millimeters tall. For me, with my small hands, they're about 17 centimeters by 8.5 centimeters. That's absolutely brilliant, and I've loved gaming with it so far. With a mouse this price, as you'd expect, the sensor is very good. It's the final sensor with a 3 playing card lift-off distance. That's about the same as a PMW 3389, and it performs absolutely brilliantly, as you'd expect. Obviously, the cable is not an important thing, since you're going to be using this wireless mode all the time. The battery life, they do claim to be very good, and although I haven't really tested it enough and seen over time, in the few days I've been using it quite heavily, it's still on its highest level of battery. You do only get a green, orange or red indicator though, with a flash inside the mouse periodically, so it isn't particularly useful. You can't really tell how much battery you have left. It connects to your computer using this wireless dongle, which they recommend you put on your desk for the optimum connectivity. It's a bit of a shame that you don't just have an option to have it in the back of the PC, but it does make sense. You know, you want the best connection. How much that really matters, I don't really know, but I've had no connectivity issues. They claim it's top wireless technology, and from my testing and personal experience just as a normal user, I can't really disagree with that. One thing to bear in mind though is it is micro USB. A lot of people were disappointed about this. The maker of this mouse claimed it was to save weight. I personally think he did it more to save money, but we'll never really know. It's not really an issue, you use it to charge the mouse. Obviously on something higher end like this, you would expect USB Type-C, so take with that what you will. Speaking on the note of being cheap, I was a little bit concerned that this mouse uses on-one switches. That being said, they do feel really nice. Something about it being made out of magnesium and there being no give to the actual clicks and them being so solid, they do feel really nice. It'll be interesting to see what happens over time though, as I found with other mice with on-one switches that I've used for a long period of time, they can tend to degrade in their feel over time. Another thing that's a bit concerning, and I will get onto some more build quality issues in a minute, is that when I press mine fairly hard, it can tend to slide off to the side a bit and feel a bit sticky or clicky in the wrong way in game, and that is a bit annoying. It's only when I press the mouse button fairly hard, and for the price point of this mouse and how hard it is to get, that does annoy me. Another thing is the scroll wheel. So I think the scroll wheel is very nice to use. I don't personally use it much in games. What is annoying though is if you have a look at mine, it's not in the middle, and when you click it, it kind of clicks to one side because of that. It's not a big deal. I wouldn't mind if this mouse was cheaper, but when I've paid $200 for it, you kind of expect perfect build quality. Similarly, when it arrived, the side buttons, they didn't work at all. I think I made a little video of that on my phone. I'll see if I can show you that. Basically, they weren't clipped in. After I gave them a good push and a squeeze, they clipped in and they work perfectly now, and they feel very nice. That's once again something that really shouldn't be happening when you're spending this much money on a mouse. Those of you interested, here's a sound test of everything of the clicks. So here's the left click, the right click, the scroll wheel scrolling, clicking, and the front and back side buttons. The feet I thought were very good. I mean, obviously this mouse just flies around your mouse pad since it's so light, but I think the feet were good enough, and they're obviously something you can change. If you're willing to spend $200 on a mouse, you can spend a few dollars to change the feet, I'd say. You can cycle through DPI modes. The sensor does go up to 20,000 DPI supposedly. I'm pretty sure there's no software for this mouse though, so you can cycle between 400, 800, 1600 and 3200 I believe. And from what I can tell as well, there's no way to tell what DPI you're on. You just kind of have to guess, which is a bit weird. Maybe I've missed something, maybe there is some software or an indicator I'm missing, so I'm a bit confused with that. I would have maybe liked to see maybe just an LED to indicate what DPI I am on, something like Extrafy or Endgame do. There's only so much I can say about this mouse. As you'd expect, it is the best gaming mouse I've ever used. Shape is obviously the most important thing, but it's a universal enough shape that with the small and medium, everybody would be able to be fairly comfortable with it. And until other manufacturers catch up, its features, the lightweight, the construction is incredible. Obviously, I am not too pleased with the build quality, and a lot of people have had even worse experiences than me. I've seen on Twitter and other things, and they're having to send them back for repairs, and I really don't think that's good enough when this mouse is retailing at $190. For $190, I personally think if you're wanting to spend money and get the best mouse possible, it's worth it. I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad I bought it. I don't regret my purchase at all. As long as it stays in one piece and works as it is now, I'm having a really great time using it. That all being said, please do not buy one off eBay for any more money than retail. It's not worth it. Just wait for the next drop or buy a different mouse. Since I will be using this mouse a lot, I'm sure you'll see a follow-up video of me in a few months. So make sure you subscribe for that, and I'll see how this mouse holds up after a fair bit of use over the next few weeks and months. Simply put, if you're happy to spend $190 and you get it in a drop, it is an incredible mouse. The Finalmouse Starlight-12 lives up to the majority of its claims, and it is the ultimate gaming mouse. But don't spend any more money than that. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then make sure you leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. If you want to look as cool as me, and I know you do, you can get yourself some merch at takefly.co.uk/merch. For your next video, go check out my gaming mouse tier list that I made a few months back. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.